All right, so you did it. You pushed through school, you're out on the open road, and bam, those first real paychecks are finally hitting your bank account. It feels amazing, right? Like you finally made it. But listen up, because this exact moment, this feeling of relief, this is where everything can go completely sideways if you're not paying attention. Because what you do with these first 10 paychecks, well, that's going to set the course for the next 10 years of your life. Let's get into why.
So why is this so dangerous? It's because right now, without even realizing it, you are carving out the financial habits that are going to stick with you for the rest of your career. And here's the really sneaky part. These habits, they don't feel irresponsible. They're formed completely by accident, just because we misunderstand what this first wave of income is actually for.
In this quote right here, it just nails the heart of the trap. When that money comes in, your brain just screams, "I can finally breathe." And hey, you've earned that feeling, 100%. But if you let that feeling of pure relief call the shots on your financial strategy, you're going to make choices that feel great right now, but will quietly chain you down for years.
I love this rocket analogy because it's the perfect way to think about this. It's not about some giant catastrophic mistake you're going to make. Nope, it's about a tiny error in your trajectory, just a few centimeters off at the very beginning, that you don't correct. Over thousands of miles, that tiny little deviation means you miss your target completely. That's what's at stake here.
This right here is the psychological trap we all fall for. It's called the cash flow lie. You see that big gross number on your check, and it creates this false sense of security. Your brain starts spending money that hasn't actually done its job yet, covering all of the real costs of keeping your life and your business running. So you feel wealthy, but what you actually have is momentum. And trust me, those are two very, very different things.
And that's really the core danger we're talking about. The feeling that you're running fast, that you're finally making progress, that is not the same as having a solid, stable foundation under your feet. Momentum is an incredible thing, but without direction, it can shove you right into bad spending habits and long-term commitments before you've even figured out what your baseline is.
Okay, so how do we navigate this incredibly tricky period? Well, that brings us to our first section, and we're zeroing in on those first 10 checks. The strategy is actually pretty simple. You play defense. Your number one goal is to protect your new future from the powerful gravitational pull of your old past.
Think about it this way. Every single time you make a major positive change in your life, you're going to be met with resistance from your old self, your old habits, your old situations. Your past literally has its own momentum. So these first checks, they're not for making a big splash. They are for dropping an anchor and holding your ground against that pull.
And that pull, it shows up in some really predictable ways. All of a sudden, old collectors you haven't heard from in years are blowing up your phone. Old friends want the fun you back, the one who wasn't so focused on the future. You feel this intense pressure to buy a new truck or a new phone just to prove to everyone you've made it. And of course, everyone from your cousin to your best friend suddenly has an opinion on what you should do with your money. Just recognizing these things as traps is the first step to disarming them.
So here's your weapon. This one question is your filter for everything. Before you spend a single dollar, before you commit your time to something, before you say yes, just stop and ask yourself, does this protect my momentum or does it drain it? If it builds you up, awesome. If it pulls you back down, it can wait. This is how you start building real discipline.
All right, so once you've built that defensive wall and you're holding your ground, now it's time to go on offense. And that brings us to our next section. See, the only way to really win this game for the long haul is to make a fundamental shift in your mindset. You got to go from employee to owner, from thinking about a paycheck to thinking about profit.
This quote from freight broker Brandon Scott just cuts right through all the noise, doesn't it? It's so direct, totally unemotional, and it is pure business. He didn't get into this to play games or to feel important. He came in to do one thing, make profits. That's the mindset we're aiming for.
Let's break this down a bit. The typical driver mindset, it gets really focused on the gross pay rate. And it often gets tangled up in the emotional stuff. Being the backbone of America. And look, there's nothing wrong with that pride, but pride doesn't pay the bills. A business owner, on the other hand, is laser focused on one thing and one thing only, net profit. Their language is all about costs, margins, and strategy. And their goal isn't just to make money, it's to keep it.
This is the whole game, right here. So many people make a ton of money, but they have absolutely nothing to show for it because they never master the art of keeping it. And that takes knowing your numbers, having a plan, and being completely intentional about profit.
So how do you actually start keeping more of what you earn? Well, let's get into our third section and look at a simple 3-part playbook. This is inspired by that business-first thinking. This is a broker's profit playbook. Okay, step 1, master your costs. A broker doesn't care about your cost of operation. That's on you. You have to know your numbers cold. Step 2, look for ways to boost your margins, like building direct relationships with shippers. And number 3, and listen, this is the one that really separates the pros from the amateurs. Do not let that truck be your only stream of income.
So what's this big number on the screen? $32,000. That's how much revenue Brandon Scott made from his YouTube channel in just 1 year. Completely separate from his brokerage business. Just let that sink in. When freight rates are in the tank, or he has a slow month, this other income stream plugs the gap. That is what real financial security looks like.
And all of this brings us to our final section, which is honestly the most important mindset reset of them all. You have got to stop seeing trucking as just a job. It's not. It's the key that unlocks everything else. You have to start seeing it as your platform.
This single idea right here, this is the ultimate goal. A paycheck is something you spend, and then it's gone. A platform is something you build from. A paycheck is temporary. A platform gives you options, it gives you freedom, it gives you leverage for the rest of your life.
Just think for a second about everything you're collecting out there on the road besides money. Every single load teaches you something new about how this industry works. Every person you meet is a potential high-value connection. Every problem you solve on the fly builds your business skills. These aren't just experiences, my friends. They are assets. They are leverage. This is how you turn a job into a powerful, powerful tool. So as that next paycheck hits your account, here is the one question I want you to ask yourself. Are you just building a job to get by today? Or are you using this entire career to build a tool that's going to serve you for the next 10, 20, even 30 years? The choices you make with these first 10 paychecks will write the answer to that question.